Hey guys, Ian here with White Pine Living. Welcome to what I hope to be the first of many episodes of Gun Talk with Mike. This is my friend Mike.
Hi.
A lot of you probably already know Mike. He was a pretty popular gun guy here in town. Hey, so today I wanted to choose a topic that was going to cover things that maybe people would be afraid to ask, because I don't care what it is, whether it's guns, music, whatever it is. There's always somebody that's new enough to the thing that they know a little bit, but there's a lot of questions that they feel stupid asking, but it's kind of important stuff to know. And there are legitimately guys that when they are asked such things, they treat you like you're a moron, and so you don't even bother.
They're known as punks.
Yeah, okay, good.
A lot of them.
Good to know. So, I hope that that's going to be good for you guys. It's going to be very simple stuff. You probably already know a lot of this, but maybe some of you are new to Nevada, new to hunting in general, and this is going to be really useful stuff to you.
Or even someone who's looking to hunt in our area from outside, that kind of stuff. Or some teenager in Vegas who just thinks he wants to kill something.
Hey, that's totally cool.
Better a deer than
in fact, you know what? Welcome to Nevada. That's
welcome to Nevada.
That's awesome. So we called this choosing your hunt. So, first of all, what is there to hunt in the White Pine County area?
There's a lot of
skunks.
There's a lot of things to hunt. Don't hunt a skunk. It's disgusting. I do in the city, so you blow them away, you get in trouble. There's a lot of things to hunt, but if you're talking about something you can eat, like a big game item, You're talking almost exclusively about deer, mule deer specifically, antelope, and elk, right? And elk is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's going to take up to 20 years to get a tag for an elk in some cases, or you could be really lucky and put in 2 years in a row and get a freaking bull elk tag. So most people will go for cow elk. Now, most times that can take up to, I think, 5 or 6 years to get a cow elk tag.
Wow.
And then antelope tag is sometimes 2 or 3 years, but usually less. And a mule deer tag tends to be every other year, depending on where you put in. Which is actually for mule deer, where you put in is a bigger deal, because the hunts that are really good, they don't give that many tags for, and that's when the hunts are good. And the hunts that are terrible, they give too many tags in, or at least this was true several years ago. It's gotten better, but for a couple of hunts, they put everybody who wants a tag for that area into it, and there's no animals there, and you just drive around in circles and think, man, this must have been really great in the 1950s when there weren't so many idiots hunting.
All right. So we actually already kind of covered the some of the next question, which is like, what is the availability? Is there how many? Like, do you know how many tags? I guess you kind of already covered that. Like, how many tags there are for each thing, roughly?
It's in the. For each thing, it depends, but mainly like with mule deer, I think the last time I checked, it was something like 90,000 tags or something, or no, it was like 900,000 tags, some ridiculous number, and it was they had overestimated. This was like 5 years ago. Overestimated by like 30,000 tags or something, which is why there was a big problem. And I think the population's gotten better since then, and it's probably far less as far as tags, but there's only 3 million people in Nevada, and there's not a whole heck of a lot of wildlife, and most of the wildlife that we hunt is transitory, meaning it comes from somewhere else. So you'll get a lot of animals, like the animals born in Montana or born in Idaho, and he travels south for the winter and happens to come through our backyard.
Right.
And which is pretty good. There are some areas that have like native herds, but most of the herds, at least in the animals that I've hunted, are transitory. And you tend to get better animals too. The ones that are, going from Canada to Mexico or something weird. Like those they tend to be the better animals.
Okay, all right.
At least in what I've been told in my experience, what I've seen.
Going from Canada to Mexico, probably not the best decision. It'll be warmer.
Well, that's what they do is they follow the snow. They follow the snow line, and I'm not 100% sure why. Mule deers and other animals will do that, and that's another thing. If there's not snow on the ground and you're hunting a mule deer or elk, you're wrong. Like you're up.
Really?
Yeah. And so all these idiots that get all these like, oh, I want to get in 2 weeks earlier. No, you don't. You want to get as late as possible. You want to be early in the hunt, but late in the season. So getting hunts in December and in January in White Pine County is the best time to go.
Wow.
Antelopes are the only exception. Antelope season's in August. And there's no, like, antelopes tend to be the animals that are like native to the area, and they're not going to travel like hundreds or thousands of miles generally.
So I saw a ton of antelope driving out between Austin and Middlegate.
They're very dumb. It's great.
It's pretty awesome.
I have seen antelope on the shooting range in White Pine County, sitting there watching me shoot. And so, and of course, what do? You try to scare them off. You don't want them to get killed or something. So the antelope's over here, and you're going to shoot slightly more in his direction. He still doesn't move. You're like, maybe slightly more in his direction. And then he kind of gets, hey, this is maybe a bad place.
Maybe I should go somewhere else.
And then he ran about 300 yards off to the right and continued to watch.
This sort of begs the question of experience level. Does your experience level sort of play into the kind of animal you're going to choose to hunt?
Yes.
Sounds like you don't have to be incredibly awesome to hunt an antelope.
You do and you don't. Antelope, you need to know how to obviously track the things, which is anything in hunting, but you need to know how to process the animal correctly. With an antelope, for example, they're I think around or maybe a little over 100 degrees in body temperature, and if you don't understand how to hack that animal up correctly and get its organs out and skin it without getting the skin to touch the animal and ice it and all that kind of stuff, you're going to spoil the meat before you get home. And I've watched this happen. I've watched guys shoot an antelope and they drive 100 miles back to where they're from, and they just throw the animal in the back of their truck, and by the time they get home, it's over. The meat's spoiled. The thing is.
So you better know how to skin this sucker. As soon as you've killed it.
Essentially what you have to do for antelope is you have to have an icing plant of some kind. You want to get an extremely high quality cooler, and you want to get some very good butchering equipment, because you're going to have to at least quarter the animal, and then you're going to quarter it, put it in game bags, and put the game bags in the freezer that you have, assuming your freezer is big enough, which you got to figure it out. And we're talking about a thing that sits in the back of your truck that you put ice in, drive around all week, and ice still has to be ice.
Okay.
In this thing.
Okay.
And so their antelope are relatively easy to find. It's just you have to have a plan for them. They're not like deer, which are kind of shifty, Like deer are the kind of animal that like you're walking around and you see deer poop and you're like, oh, that's deer poop. There's one close by. And so you kind of circle and it's been like 12 hours and you're like, where is this thing? And the second the sun comes down, he pops his head up, stares at you, and leaves. And he was watching you the whole time. It's like, what's this human doing? What's he looking for?
Man.
Yeah, deer are great. Although the deer around here tend to be a little skittish. If you're actually chasing a deer, then you're you've already done it the wrong way out here in this topography. Chasing deer is more of like that's a thing to do where people live in large groups. That's a California thing, New Jersey thing. That's where there's trees and that kind of stuff.
Well, let's talk about what exactly I should be bringing to my hunt.
Your hunt.
So I've got a nice AR-15.
Right.
Why can't I just bring that out and let's go?
If you think you can hit a mule deer in the heart, and that 22 caliber bullet is going to penetrate his shoulder bone, his ribs, and expand correctly and end up in his heart, and if you think you can do that from 600 yards, do it. Right? But if you're a normal person, you're going to want something in a 30 caliber, something with a little bit of good charge to it. About 308 or larger is what I usually recommend. And when I say that, I mean like the 308 casing or larger, not necessarily specifically the 308. Okay. So your 243s, your 270s, your anything in a 308 or 30-aught family is going to work fine. If you're a really good shot and you want to extend out beyond 600, 700, or 800 yards, you may want to look into a Magnum caliber. If you're a new shooter, that's a very bad plan, because you'll go to sight it in, you'll blow your shoulder out, and that's Then all of a
Maybe
sudden,
that.
then all of a sudden you're going to sell your gun for half what you paid to someone who actually knows what the hell they're doing, and you're going to feel like an idiot. You never go hunt again. It doesn't help anyone.
That's what we're trying to avoid. All right, so how the heck do I pull the tag? Where do I even start?
So there's a website. I think it's huntnevada.org.
Okay.
And
We'll link to it. We'll look it up so you guys have it.
put a thing there.
Put
a thing.
Put a thing.
Here, click. You'll be clicking on the Coke can, and it'll take you to huntnevada.org.
All right.
But
You got it.
yes. So you go to huntnevada.org. You can do all this offline. You can get a tag application if you want to do all this like an old person, but it's better to just go to the website and use your credit card and that kind of stuff. And we do legitimately mean credit card, not your bank account, unless you're good enough at making sure that you've got the correct amount of money in your bank account, and you're never going to use it until they take the money out of there.
Do they not take it out right away?
No, they don't. Good stuff, Nevada. So what they do is there's two parts to your fee. So for example, the tag fee on a mule deer is $33.
Okay.
They take out like $10 or something immediately, which you're never going to see back, and the remaining like $23 or whatever the hell it is, they take out on the day they do the draw. And just imagine like the world's largest like lotto, right? It's the same kind of, theoretically the same kind of thing. They have an algorithm. They say they're not cheating us all. We just trust them.
It's appropriate. It's Nevada.
Yeah, it's Nevada. You know, maybe it's legit,
Gamble
maybe
with
it's not.
everything else. We might as well.
Well, that's exactly how we draw animals here, is through gambling. Like, no joke. So what you do is you go online, and you want to have the hunt book with you, which you can either get them to send them a copy, you can download the PDF, and that lists all the individual hunts, what the animal is, what the start date is for the hunt, and you're going to put in that particular hunt. And you put in the five hunts you want, and then you just kind of roll the dice. And so you legitimately, what animal do you want? Okay, I want a mule deer. What area do you want? I want area 12, right? Area 112. And I want
100 on black.
Yeah. And then maybe you get it, maybe you don't. Well, if you don't get that, what's your second choice? And the second choice is area 10. Area 10 sucks. Third, and not when I say area 10, I'm referring to 101 through 109 for those who don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And the locals out here refer to it as quote unquote area 10, which is extremely confusing. It's good stuff. But next one might be 101 through 109, and the next one might be area 124 or whatever, right? Okay. Whatever your hunt is. And if you put in enough for the same animal, your likelihood will increase to get those. But I mean, if you never want to hunt again, you can legitimately put in 5 bull elk, 5 tries for bull elk every single year, and maybe in 15 years, like if you remember how to hunt by then, go for it.
All right. Which is surprising to me because honestly, just living in our culture here, I see dudes everywhere with elk, elk stuff.
Right.
They got one dead one in the back of their car. They got them mounted on their wall. They got antlers everywhere. What's the deal with that? How are these dudes getting these things?
If there's 1 million people and 10,000 of them get a tag for an elk, you're going to see a shitload of elk floating around in the area.
Probably 2,000 of them at least live here.
Yeah, okay. More than likely.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay, so, for the average noob out there like myself, don't have a clue what I'm doing, would it be a good idea to hire a guide or just go say, screw it, I'm going to do it on my own?
Always get a guide.
Okay.
The greatest way to screw up a hunt is to do everything yourself before you know what the hell you're doing.
Okay.
I mean, imagine you got a 4-year-old, right? The 4-year-old's like, well, I think I'm ready to drive Dad's car. Let's turn, I've seen him do it 100 times. How hard can it be? It's going to be great. It's going to be super fun. I'm going to do some donuts in the parking lot. This will be great.
Yeah. Awesome.
Going to turn out terribly.
Yes.
Need someone to show what the hell to do. Never be afraid to use a guide. Even if you're an experienced hunter and you're coming into the area, imagine you're the hunter from out of state. You're from somewhere else, and Nevada has some of the best bull elk in the world, frankly. We really do. We legitimately have world-class bull elk, trophy-level elk in White Pine County. And you've been drawing for 20 years, and you get a tag. Spend the $2,000 or whatever it costs and get a guide who knows what he's doing. Ask around, ask you locals, ask, hey, who's a good guide? Who do you know who has good results or whatever? And find someone who does this professionally. and definitely use the guide. If you're a new hunter, same thing. Use the guide at least the first year, and then take what that guy shows you, and then use that throughout the rest of your
that makes sense.
hunting life.
Absolutely. And we've got some good guides around here. I've met a few of them, and we're gonna make sure and have a list of a bunch of them for you guys. Hopefully we'll have a complete list if we can of the reputable, hunting guides. And I think that's it, man. There's not much else to cover, right? We've covered
Depends on what you want to do.
what you're gonna hunt, how much is out there, how you're gonna get it, what you're gonna shoot it with.
Game processing.
Get a guide. Here's how you're gonna get your tags. We will have links to all of that.
You want a game processing plan. There's
Yes.
one guy.
Define
I
what
can
that
remember.
means.
Okay, so game processing, you shoot your animal, you gut your animal, and then
Right.
and then what?
You're not going to kill it, throw it in the back of your truck, and be like, "Rah!" And then,
And then throw it on the barbecue directly. You have to cut it into little pieces and stuff.
you have to actually,
And
okay.
if a guy wants to do that himself, you can save a lot of money doing that. If you're like me and you're not a trained butcher and you look at a dead animal and you think, man, if I could just snap my fingers and have them turn into a zillion little steaks, we could have a fun barbecue with this. That's the other thing. You want to get a good game processor. There's seriously one in Waupun County that I recommend. I can't remember their name, but they're in between here and Baker. They're off of Highway 50 somewhere. It legitimately middle of nowhere. And so if you shoot something in Waupun County, then you want to get it, gutted and game bagged, iced up, and get it to the guy who's friggin' halfway between here and Baker.
Dude, that's awesome. Hey, guys, Mike is an endless, bottomless pit of knowledge when it comes to guns of all kinds and all subjects. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, the stuff that he knows.
It's like being Rain Man.
Yeah, basically, like a Rain Man for guns. So
Kind
if you have questions, if you're thinking about buying something, chances are he's shot it or helped someone buy it or helped someone avoid buying it. And so we would love to have you guys send in your questions, and we'll start to get some topics that you care about as often as we can.
I will say this. I will be honest. If anyone asks me a question about a gun that's a piece of shit, I'll tell you straight up it's a piece of shit. I don't care how great you think it is or whatever, or used one in the Army and it was great then. If it's a piece of shit, it's a piece of shit.
All right. Well, that's it for today. And hope you guys, if you have questions, if you got stuff you wanted to talk about, let us know. But otherwise, we will see you next time.
Catch you guys later.